Of course, the week really kicked off once later on Tuesday. Of course, we had the holiday on Monday. Tuesday after the close, we got Netflix earnings. I mean, it just absolutely crushed it. Nearly 10%, biggest ever subscriber, excuse me, gain. Apple has been really weak recently, down almost 15% from its all-time highs. It's like 4 weeks in a row Apple's been down due to soft iPhone sales and intelligent as well. You guys trade anything in Apple? You waiting on earnings, or what's the deal?
I started taking a little bullish position in Apple.
Same. Yep. I've been doing that for the better part of a week and a half. So we'll see how it plays out. Bank of Japan hiked their interest rates. Of course, they've been doing things different than everybody else in the world, and now they're at 0.5%, highest in 17 years. Crude oil, this is the after 4 straight weeks of positivity, and crude oil's reversed now, and I think I'm not sure where it is today, but it's the first negative week in 5 weeks. And of course, volatility is lack thereof. Low print of 1459 this week. I think that was on the actual print of the Jan VIX, and VIX 1D's below 10. VVIX is back below 100, so volatility is negligible in this market right now, as we're basically heading into the bulk of earnings. So I think that's interesting, because I think it makes for a situation where earnings are going to be, sort of moving around a little bit more, and you probably have some interesting plays. We'll see.
Yeah, low implied volatility is going to make those earnings plays lower. I don't think you're going to see too many with implied volatility over 10%, that 8 to 10% range, which is usually where the higher end of the range is for the move. You're going to see those 2, 3, and 5% implied moves relatively low. I think next week we're going to do another segment, or a segment on VVIX that you might like. I know the team's working on it, so we'll piggyback what you just said there. And NASDAQ just turned green to help you with your weekly up move in the market.
Oh, there you go. What are you smiling? You're smiling, Tom. It happens so rarely. Yeah. I got to ask, what's up?
Yeah. No, it's been bouncing back and forth all morning, but yeah.
Speaking of earnings, banks have been strong. Most of the bank earnings have done well. The regional banks have kind of been lagging. You see, KBE there. Regional banks been lagging a little bit, but KRE, excuse me, put KBE by accident. But regional banks been lagging, but banks have mostly been strong.
Banks have been very strong.
Speaking of strong, metals are catching a bid here. As a matter of fact, gold's trying to go back towards all-time highs, even amidst all this talk of tariffs, stuff that's going on with China. Even, you're seeing silver, not silver, but copper participate here. So I'm not quite sure what to think about. I don't have any position in any one of these. Chris and I have talked about metals at length when we do Futures Power Hour. And we've just kind of had, watching these sort of catch a bid more recently. But I don't know if you guys got anything going on in metals or not.
I have something on in all these underlyings. And the biggest winner recently has been copper, because they've crushed premium. I don't know why, but since the Trump thing, premium's gotten killed in copper. Silver.
Since the Trump thing, you mean elected president?
Yeah, get elected? Trump thing, yeah.
No.
Actually, what? All of them, vol is fairly low. Gold too, and silver. I mean, mostly because they're not. We all know when they really start to run hot, vol gets bid in those, right? I mean, it's different.
No. I mean, since the inauguration, they've been killing. Last 4 days, they've killed premium in copper. Gold and silver, same thing. On Tuesday, after the inauguration, they murdered premium in gold and silver. I don't remember exactly. The last 2 days it's been down, but not as much. I don't know what it's doing this morning.
I agree with everything Tom said. I'm going to go a little bit one step further, or in a different direction. GLD is a very tough product to trade. /GC, I've had some success in. Both do the same thing. I just think the gold futures options are just, better trade for my style or our style of trading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
What about silver? What's your preferred vehicle? SI or SLV?
Not too big, not liquid enough for me. I usually stay away from silver unless I got a directional play in there, and I don't have a directional play. Although silver has lagged gold if you're kind of a metals bug.
To me, SLV is almost untradeable. I like SI. Really? I did put a position on yesterday in SLV. We'll probably take it off this morning because we just sold some puts, and it worked. And in copper, you can really only trade HG. I think all three of those are better as futures options, but just stay small.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer going directionally if it's GLD or SLV. Otherwise, I agree with you on GC. I think you can do a whole host of things in there. It's really, and honestly, copper I hardly ever trade. It's very, I mean, it's the only real vehicle you can trade pure copper, but it's kind of, there's really not a whole lot that trades in there when you look at it, honestly.
It's actually okay. You'd be surprised. I don't know if you've traded a while, Jamal. I trade it every day.
Okay.
Yeah, I trade it every day. It's fine. You only give up one tick to, and it trades in nickels. So it's one tick to roll verticals. It's not bad.
Yeah. Let's move to the next slide. Things might be getting interesting in those again. That's why I bring them up. I thought this was a little bit of an interesting one. So this is the percentage of stocks in the S&P 500 that outperform the index. Past 2 years, only 29% of stocks have outperformed the index. Past 2 years, back to back. And, again, things don't necessarily repeat. They rhyme sometimes. But I just thought it was interesting. The last time we saw that low level of participation, it was followed by 2001, where we saw a lot high. Well, '01, of course, wasn't necessarily a great year. But again, we're just talking about the number of stocks that outperform the index. So take this for what it is. You could say this is kind of one for the bulls. The funny part is, let's go to the next slide. I got one for the bears. This here is the ratio of consumer staples to consumer discretionary, okay? It's consumer discretionary being on the bottom. So that's the blue line, right? I overlaid it with SPY. The blue line is that ratio, right? So consumer discretionary to staples, you could call it the stuff that you need versus the stuff that you want. In markets that are not doing well, usually staples outperform, right? Markets like now, bull markets, you typically see consumer discretionary outperform. That's basically what the blue line is showing you. And it just coincides with market highs. I don't know where this is going. Again, I just said this is one for the bears. Bears can use this to make a case that maybe market's about to turn. Who knows? You can see that this ratio was kind of elevated during 2022, which made sense. Downturn in the market, consumer staples were doing well. So again, we'll see what happens here. But like I said, I had one chart on the other side for the bears, for the bulls, and this chart is for the bears.
So consumer staples is that's like your Walmart, stocks that we trade. It's like your Walmart, your Costco's.
Like I always say, the stuff that you want, that you need, and then the consumer discretionary stuff that you want. Obviously, Tesla is the biggest component of consumer discretionary.
Got it. Good little chart. Funny little look at it.
Yeah, right. I came up with it myself with the
definitely an extreme.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So we'll see. Let's move to the last slide. EA had a really bad day yesterday. Fell the most since 1999 on poor guidance and challenges due to its soccer franchise. Trump was part of the TikTok halting the ban. For 75 days, it's been halted. Of course, ByteDance is looking for ways to try and avoid selling the U.S. operations. There's obviously been a ton of discussions. We got to, of course, keep an eye on Meta and Snap to see how they perform despite all of this stuff. There was a private sector investment of up to $500 billion to fund AI structure. Lots of big moves on, I think it was Tuesday, right? Not Wednesday, for a lot of tech names. NVIDIA, of course, some of the nuclear plays, Oklo being one of them, and ABGO. A lot of big moves in some of those names. Fed rate decision, of course, is coming up this week on January 29th. No expected change, but of course, it's always about the meeting after. Big earnings next week. Apple, Boeing, Meta, Microsoft all have earnings, among others. And then you also have the core PCE price index. I don't imagine that's going to move markets, but it's a data point. Finally, Jan 21 market measure. How wide should our iron condors be? Check that out.